to the class. This is class 6th, subject social science, chapter number 6 of geography, and the name of the chapter is Major Landforms of the Earth. As we have already covered one of the lecture from this chapter in which we talked about mountains and the types of mountains. So, two more landforms we will be discussing in today's lecture, and it's going to be our lecture number 2. So, let's see the topics that we are going to cover today in this particular lecture. Number 1, plateaus. Number 2, importance of plateaus, or you can say how the plateaus are useful to men. Number 3, plains. Number 4, formation of plains. Most of the plains, they are formed by the rivers. So here we will talk about the formation of the plains by the rivers. Number 5, importance of plains, how the plains are useful to men and why the people, the large population that is living there on the plain area. And at last we will take homework that will be there on the basis of the topics covered in today's lecture. So let's start the topics one by one. The first topic is plateau. What is this plateau? It is an elevated flat surface. It is often known as tableland because of its flat surface. For example, the Deccan Plateau, the East African Plateau, and the Western Plateau of Australia. So these are the examples of plateau. First of all, what is this plateau? How can we define the plateau? The elevated flatland means the raised land but flat at the surface, like a table. If you see the table, it is raised but at the top it is flat. In the same way, this landform is there, which is raised from the surrounding area but on the top surface it is flat. You can see there in the picture given here also that the raised land it is shown, which is flat at the surface. So that's why it is known as table also, because it looks like a table. Examples of plateau: the Deccan Plateau that is there in India itself, East African Plateau that covers the different countries of Africa like Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda. So these countries, here in these countries, this East African Plateau that is located. The Western Plateau of Australia, in Australia country, the western part, there is the plateau that is known as the Western Plateau of Australia. If we talk about the Tibet Plateau that is in north of India, that it is the world's highest plateau with the height of 4,000 to 6,000 meters above the sea level. We always measure the heights of the things, the natural things, everything from the sea level always. So the height of this plateau, Tibet Plateau, which is the world's highest plateau with the height of 4,000 to 6,000 meters. As we talked about the highest mountain peak there in the mountains also with the height of 8,848 meters. Clear? Here we are talking about the highest plateau in the world, that is Tibet Plateau. Clear about the plateau? Now, importance of plateau. How this landform plateau is important for people or how it is useful for us. Number 1, plateaus are rich in mineral resources. The mineral resources that we get from the earth, so that most of the mineral resources that we get from the plateau area. So they are rich in mineral resources. Number 2, plateaus have several waterfalls, that is ideal sites for generating the hydroelectricity. If you remember, in mountains also we have done that they were also the good sites for generating hydroelectricity. Hydroelectricity, that is the electricity produced by water. So on plateaus, as they are also high, so some waterfalls are there, and these waterfalls, they are good site or the ideal site for generating hydroelectricity. If we talk about some of the example of these waterfalls here in India, there are the Chota Nagpur Plateau, the area of Jharkhand, Bihar. There is Chota Nagpur Plateau, and one example of waterfall is the Hundru Fall, that is there in Chota Nagpur Plateau. If we talk about there in Karnataka, there is also one of the fall, that is Jog Falls. So these are some of the examples of waterfalls there in India in the plateau areas. Next is lava plateaus are rich in black soil, that is ideal for cultivation. Lava plateaus means the plateaus those are formed due to the lava. Clear? So they are rich in black soil, and black soil, that is very good for some of the crops. So it is ideal for cultivation. Which type of crops it is ideal? It is good for the sugarcane. It is good for cotton crop. So lava plateaus are rich in black soil, that is good for agriculture or for cultivation. Next thing, as we talked about the mineral resources, so here we'll talk about some of the resources found at the particular place. Like African plateau is famous for gold and diamond mining, means gold and diamond that is extracted there from the African plateau. The African plateau that is famous for gold and diamond mining. If we talk about Indian Chota Nagpur plateau, that is rich in iron, coal, manganese. So these minerals, they are found there in Chota Nagpur plateau. That's why we say that the plateaus are rich in mineral resources, because these mineral resources, they are found in plateau areas. So in this way we can say these plateaus, they are very much useful for the human being. Clear? Next is plain. The next landform, that is plain. The even land, you can say, the land that is flat one. Plains are large stretches of flat land. Some plains are extremely leveled, others may be slightly rolling. Most of the plains are formed by rivers. For example, Ganga and Brahmaputra plains in India, plains formed by Yangtze River in China. So as the plain, if we can, in simple language we can say plains, that is the landform which is flat one. So how can we define it? Plains are large stretches of flat land where the land is flat in the large areas. And some of the plains, they are extremely leveled, the completely leveled one. Some may be the slightly rolling, means the slightly up and downs are there, but they are flat one. So most of the plains, they are formed by rivers, as in starting also I told you that the plains, they most of them, they are formed by the rivers. And for example, here these example you can write there in example of plains, and the examples those are formed by Ganga Brahmaputra river, they are in India, they are known as Ganga Brahmaputra plains. And the plains formed by Yangtze river in China, they are also famous as the plains formed by river. So these are the examples of plains. Clear what is plain and the examples of the plains, those are formed by rivers. Now we'll discuss that how these plains, they are formed by the rivers, about the formation of the plains. So formation of the plains with the help of rivers. Rivers flow down from mountain slope and erode them. Means the erosion process, as in starting of the chapter we talked about the erosion, the wearing down or cutting down of the earth surface due to some of the sources like water, wind, glaciers. So here we are talking that rivers, when they flow down on the mountain slope, they erode them from the surface of the mountain slope. uh, and what type of things they are eroding and what they are taking with them? The upper layer of the that particular earth surface they are taking with them, like sand and silt. They carry the eroded material like sand and silt forward. So whatever the material they have eroded, they have cut from the surface of the mountain slopes, they carry them forward with the water. They deposit their loads of silt and sand along their courses and in their valleys. Courses means the corners, you can say corners of the rivers. When the rivers they are coming down there on the leveled land, as they are coming from the slopes of the mountains, when they come there on the leveled lands, definitely the flow of the water that decreases. As soon as the flow of the water that decreases, definitely they start depositing the material that they have brought with it, like sand and silt, along their corners and in their valleys. Valleys, the low land between the hills or mountains. So whenever the flow is less, there they start depositing the material that is carried with them. These deposits turn into the plains. So this is the formation of plains by rivers. Now, how these plains they are useful to men, or what are the importance of these plains? Number 1, plains are fertile, so they can sustain large population easily. The plains, as we talked, that the flat land it is, so the agriculture that is done easily there, and agriculture that is possible and it is fertile land, so more for agriculture, more production can be there, and more production is there, so they can held the large population on it. So that's why they can sustain the large population easily. Number 2, means of transport are easy to be constructed due to the flat land. As if you remember, in the mountain area we talked that the less means of transport are developed because the land that was uneven and it was really difficult to make it leveled one. But here the plains they are already leveled one, they are flat one, so means of transport they are easy to be constructed here due to the flat land. Number 3, ideal for human habitation. Human habitation means where human they live. So it is ideal for it because due to the flat land, the people they can easily construct their houses, the different societies there on the plain area. That's why it is ideal for human habitation. So and these points you can write if the question is there, how the plains why they are thickly populated, why the number of people they are living there in the plain area, then also the same points you can write. It is fertile land, so it can sustain large population. It is flat land, due to that the means of transport they can be constructed there, and it is good for the human habitation due to the flat land. And even you can add there the different industries can be constructed due to the flat land. That's why the thick population that is living there in the plain area, or they are densely populated. The next one is landforms and the people. As we discussed about the different landforms, so how the people they should do the use of these landforms. Should they spoil them, or should they use these landforms in the correct way? So let's see. Land is precious we must not use it in a wasteful manner. Construction work of any type should not be done or should not be carried on fertile land. Also, we should not throw garbage on land. It is our duty to take care of the land or any other natural gift. So how can we better use the land? We should not do the construction work on the fertile land because it should be used for the production of the crops, and we should not throw any of the waste material there on the land. We should not spoil it. It's our duty to take care any of the natural resource, whether it is land, whether it is water or anything else. So this is all about the landform and the people. So these were the major landforms that we have discussed in this chapter: mountains, plateaus and plains. I hope that all these three topics they are clear to you. Now some of the exercise question. You will do these questions in your book itself. Like number 1, tick the correct answer. Number 1 is the mountains differ from hill in terms of first option elevation, second slope and third aspect. The answer is elevation. Elevation means height. So in height they are different from hill. The mountains they are higher than the hills. Glaciers are found in. Glaciers are the moving the snow rivers, you can say. So they are found obviously in the mountains. Number 3, the Deccan Plateau is located in. Where it is located? It is located in India. So the third option will be the answer. Number D, the river Yangtze flows in. Now we talked about that when we talked the formation of the plains with the help of rivers. So Yangtze flows in China. So its answer will be the third one. Number E, an important mountain range of Europe. In the mountains part we have done Alps mountain, that the important mountain range in Europe. So the answer will be the second one, the Alps. Clear? So these you will do there in book itself. One more question is given in the book, fill in the blanks. A dash is an unbroken flat or a low leveled land. So what will be the answer here? Unbroken and flat. What is the flat land we talked about here? Plains. So here what will come? In first blank, plain. The Himalayas and the Alps are example of dash type of mountain, fold mountain. Number 3, dash area are rich in mineral deposits, plateaus. The dash is a line of mountain range. And the fifth and the last one, the dash areas are most productive for farming. Obviously the plain areas that we talked. Clear? Now it's time for the homework. See the questions that you will attempt in your fair register. Question number 1 is, what is the difference between a mountain and a plateau? We talked about mountains there, we talked about plateaus, so you have to write the difference between mountains and plateau. At least 4-5 differences you will write on your own. Number 2, how are plains formed? So there the formation of plain you will write. Number 3, why are river plains thickly populated? Here as I told you, you will write how are plains useful to us. The same you can write here. How are plateaus useful to us? So these 4 questions you will do. Now it's time for homework solution of lecture number 1. 4 questions were given to you. Question number 1 was, what are the different types of mountains? The 3 types of mountains we have done. The different types of mountains are fold mountain. These mountains are formed when earth's surface is to be pushed up from opposite directions to form folds. For example, Himalayan mountains, Alps mountain you can write here. Block mountain number 2. These mountains are formed when large areas are broken and displaced vertically. Uplifted block is known as host and lowered block is known as graben. Example here, Rhine Valley and Vosges mountain. We have done the examples of block mountain. Number 3, it is volcanic mountain. The mountains those are formed by volcanic activities. For example, Mount Kilimanjaro in Africa, Mount Fujiyama in Japan. Question 2 was, how are mountains useful to us? Answer, the mountains are useful to us as they are storehouse of water. Water is used in generation of hydroelectricity. Number 3, river valleys are ideal for agriculture. Number 4, mountains have rich variety of flora and fauna, means vegetation and the wildlife. Number 5, they provide us the beautiful sights for the tourist. And even you can add one more point that we have discussed there. They are good site for different sports like paragliding, hang gliding. Question number 3 was, why are mountains thinly populated? Means why less number of people they live in mountainous areas. Mountains are thinly populated as number 1, less land is available for farming. Harsh climate on the mountains. The mountains there remains very cold. So that is the harsh climate for human being. Number 3, very few employment opportunities are due to the uneven land. Number 4, less developed means of transport, again due to the uneven land. The land is not flat there in the mountains. That's why it is very difficult to develop the different means of transport. Question number 4, it was, define erosion and deposition. Number 1, erosion. Wearing down of the earth's surface is called erosion. And number 2, deposition, rebuilding of the earth's surface is called deposition. And these erosion and deposition processes, they are done due to some of the sources like water, wind and the glaciers we talked about. So that's it for today. Thank you and have a nice day.